Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Lee and today I had a thought. Could I win on F122 in the slowest car? And for the slowest car, unfortunately, that is the Williams. And I wanted to take on a challenge there in Imola. So, with all that being said, let's get into qualifying. As you can see now, coming on track for our first qualifying lap here in Imola, driving the Williams of Nicholas Latifi. Imola is a famous track, very difficult, technical. You need to maximize the potential, be on it with your braking points, acceleration points, turning points. The curves are absolutely lethal here as well. To maximize car potential, maximize lap time potential as well, you need to do all of the factors right here. Sounds like an obvious statement to make, but it's easier said than done. So, Williams is notorious for its straight line speed, so I didn't want to just take it to a track like Monza or Spa, where it would be easy to have that advantageous of that straight line speed. I wanted to take it to a track like Imola, where of course it has that very long pit lane straight, but of course the very technical corners, the very low speed corners like the chicane for example, and how we can try and make the challenge as difficult as possible for ourselves going forward. This first lap, in fact though, has been pretty good, getting used to the car's handling coming through the second to last corner. In this qualifying session, I chose to only do 2 laps as well because I wanted to keep a fresh set of soft tyres for the race going in to make sure that the fresh tyres are ready and roaring. The first lap is a 16.4 that you can see now at the end of the session has put us P9 ahead of Yuki Tsunoda behind Pierre Gasly. And on to the final lap where we're going to do a live commentary on board. So opening up the DRS, as you can see there's a car in front of us as well, but will not be affecting us. Turn 1, make sure the braking point is as straight as possible. Very difficult to do. Brake when the curve starts on the right hand side. Down into 5th gear, hit the curve again, smooth on the power. You can see that delta gaining all the way on the exit, almost a 10th up already. Now throw it into the left-hander and down to 5th gear for the right-hander. Pick up as much rotation as possible. 1.5 tenths up through the hairpin, and you see that's pretty sweet. Already gaining a tenth and a half almost through that one corner alone. Up the hill, into the left-hander, down 1 gear, kiss the curb on the inside and early on the power, run all the way to the white line. 3 tenths up now, Acrominerali, so difficult, throw it in, straight line the braking zone as much as possible, down to 4th gear, pick up the power as soon as possible, over the curb on the exit, and you can see nearly 4 tenths up, into a trek through chicane, brake the 50 meter board, down into 4th gear, hit the yellow curve again, straight line the track in as much as possible, and you can see we're almost 5 tenths up on the delta. So this has been a glorious lap for us so far. You see coming into second last corner, brake just before the 50 meter board, and now it understeers a bit, and now it can oversteer a bit for the final corner as well. So watch out for those 2 car characteristics, and we're 6.5 tenths up across the line. Where is that gonna put us? As you can see, that actually puts us in P6 out of this qualifying session, only half a second away from pole, but enough with a jibber jabber onto the grid. 4 lights, 5 lights, lights out. And away we go. We went for the soft tyres that we kept from qualifying here to try and maximise our early laps in the race here. You can see getting a better start than George Russell. Ocon flying off the line in the slipstream of Esteban Ocon ahead of us. Down the inside of George Russell. And you see going around the outside of Ocon. We see the gap, but we send it around the outside. And we are up into P4 right now, right up behind Sergio Perez. And it's going to be critical that we keep the DRS of these cars ahead and then maximise it later in the race. Also try and pull away from Ocon, and Russell might be a threat having those fresh soft tyres at the end of the race. Cutting on to the end of the first lap, you can see we've got 8 tenths to Esteban Ocon and half a second to Perez. Of course, I have not used equal car performance. I'm using realistic car performance here to keep it as difficult as possible. Otherwise, it wouldn't just be a challenge. You know, I want to take the slowest car on the grid and make it as difficult as possible. You can see the cars are in fact in order of where they should be, with the Williams, Aston Martin, Haas at the back of the grid, and then you have the Alpines, the Red Bulls, the Ferraris, the Mercedes up at the top end of the grid as well, to keep it as authentic as possible. You see though, we are keeping good pace compared to Perez and Leclerc up ahead. Ocon, we have now dropped just outside of DRS. As you say that, he is just inside of the DRS zone. So we've got another lap to try and break away from him. because he could undercut us in the pit stop window and make our lives very difficult later in the race. Through Acqua Minerale, very difficult to nail that. You see, picking up good traction on the exit, only 4 tenths away, and we still got 68% in the battery. So it's a very good situation right now. British Chain, definitely our strongest part of the track compared to the AI. And now we are flying down only 3 tenths away from Sergio Perez. But you can see on the straight line, the drag efficiency of that Red Bull and Ferrari ahead of us is far superior to the Williams and the downforce levels we're running here. And you can see putting away 4, 5, almost 6 tenths already in the straight, but now we are able to hold on to that DRS zone, only 4 tenths away, 1.2 seconds to Esteban Ocon behind us. So that's absolutely critical on lap 3 here in this race, because that's going to be able to give us an opportunity to open up our strategy, not be risked at the undercut of the cars behind us going into the pit stop window. You can see we're saving quite a lot of battery right now, doing 18.7 on the 4th lap of the race, 6 tenths behind Perez. And this Perez is going to battle with Leclerc. He is, and you see Leclerc actually going to go wide. He keeps it on the track just, but blocks the apex. And we are not able to get through. 2 tenths, 3 tenths behind Leclerc now. But so critically importantly, Leclerc has fallen out of the DRS zone of Sergio Perez. So what we need to do right now is stick right to the back of Leclerc, and if he cannot get back in the DRS zone of Perez, we need to try and overtake Leclerc on the pit straight to minimise time loss, and then find ourselves back in the DRS of Perez somehow, some way. But for now, you can see Leclerc is pushing on. He's closed the gap to 1.2 seconds compared to Perez up ahead, and now 1.3 seconds. So let's see if this Ferrari can close down on to the back of the Red Bull, because that's going to help us massively, because we are looking to save our battery for a later part in the race where it'll be critical to use that time advantage. You see deploying a little bit of battery, 6 tenths, 5 tenths behind the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, and you see Leclerc is now 1.3 seconds behind Perez again. So what I really need in this situation is Leclerc to push on and get back in the DRS of Sergio Perez. See, in all of this mayhem as well of turn 1 with Charles Leclerc running wide, Ocon has got back in our DRS as well. So we need to be able to make sure that we can drop him out of that again. Lap 5, and this is where the pit window will be opening 3 tenths behind Leclerc at the end of the DRS straight. You see, closing right in. And now 6 tenths behind. Lap 5 though, we have got 65% battery, and Leclerc is going to go for the box. But we decided to try to do something a bit adventurous, a bit outlandish, a bit dangerous considering all the situation. We decided to see if we could spam, use all of our battery, and get back into the DRS of Perez. If we could, that would give us fresher tyres than Charles Leclerc in the later part of the race, and give us the opportunity to possibly overcut him with the DRS of Sergio Perez ahead. Max Verstappen is 4.1 seconds up the road. There's not very much chance of catching him unless he makes a critical mistake or a safety car happens later in the race. So you can see now, critically, 9 tenths, 1 second behind Perez. But this is really good. Purple first sector of the race. Daniel Ricciardo is out of the race. A possible safety car might be coming up, but it doesn't seem like it. In this game, if safety car hasn't been called within the first few seconds of a car retiring, it's unlikely that it'll get called at all. Running a little bit wide through Acqua Minerale, but now 9 tenths, 8 tenths behind Sergio Perez. And as long as we can get a good chicane, we should be able to close down the possible 6, 5 tenths as well. You can see 6 tenths, 6.5 tenths on the exit, so we are comfortably in the DRS. I knew that Verstappen and Perez are, of course, teammates. Obvious statement, I know. But this means if Max boxes on this lap, Perez will have to stay out, and Max does indeed box, and I decide to follow through with Perez, opening up the DRS, opening up a bit of the overtake button. I wanted to see if I could try and overtake Perez on the straight, but unfortunately I knew even if I used the rest of my 8%, I wouldn't realistically have a chance of getting past him. I wanted to minimise time loss in this section of the race because it's critical against Charles Leclerc, and we are going to stay on board for the remainder of this lap. And you can see following through now into the left-hander, only 3-4 tenths behind, running a little bit wide, trying to get clean air over the front axle of this car to rotate it and get the car straight on the exit for maximum traction delivery. And you can see now 6 tenths behind through the left-hander, picking up a lot of wheel spin. The rear tyres are absolutely shot into Acqua Minerale. This is really very difficult to nail in the dirty air, down to 4th gear, kissing the curb on the inside, but that was pretty sweet, all things considered, and actually getting a tenth and a half with Perez into the chicane, our strongest corner on the track. Hit the yellow curb again, and now rotate the car through. You can see picking up wheel spin as the traction is extremely limited in this phase of the race. 7 laps on the soft tyres is quite a long way, and now into the final 2 corners of the lap we are going to be suffering for traction out of the final corner, but we do just manage it. And now coming into pit lane, we need to be able to be right on the limit, slowing the car down and just getting it slowed down for the pit lane limiter, trundling down what feels like an age here in Imola, as you're only doing 80 kilometers an hour compared to the whole pit straight. See, looking behind me, I wanted to see if Perez would get held up, but we absolutely nailed it and get a 2.4 second pit stop, and we have came out of our pit box closer to Perez than definitely when we entered the pit lane, which is going to be massively advantageous for us. But all eyes on the left-hand side of the screen, Charles Leclerc is going to be popping into position. Charles Leclerc undercutting both me and Perez, but I'm not too worried at this moment. All I have to do is make sure I keep in the DRS zone was Perez, and then I can be able to follow him into the to the back of Leclerc once again. Lap 8 of this race, halfway in to this Grand Prix, and now just warming up these tyres, and I'm able to keep a good gap to Perez as well. Good grip already being provided by these medium compound tyres. Of course, they're doing 2 laps fresher than they were for Leclerc as well, so that's a very important fact. So that probably equates to about 2-3 tenths a lap, maybe a little bit less, considering the Williams are going to have higher tyre wear degradation compared to the Ferrari as well. 2 seconds to Leclerc, 9 tenths, 7 tenths to Perez, 6 tenths now as we've got a good exit chicane, using a little bit of battery down to 14%, and now it's really critical that I'm able to stay in the DRS with these 2 cars ahead and then regenerate, repower our battery back up to a higher percentage and give ourselves the opportunity to catch back up at the later of the race and have an overtaken opportunity purple in the final set of the race, showing our pace and efficiency through that chicane, especially 8 tenths at the end of the straight for Perez, so we need to keep the pace high on lap 9 of the race. Lap 12, now you can see we're just about keeping in the DRS, but we have gained a bit of battery. We're up to 17%, so we was able just to skim a little bit more battery here and there and save it up as the race was unfolding. And now 5 tenths behind on the exit of the chicane, so absolutely sending it through there. And this is really where it's going to get a bit spicy in these final few laps of the race. George Russell, who opted to start on the medium compound tyres, has seemed to be not a threat to us in this final part of the race. Has probably got a bit held up and wasn't able to use the soft compound tyre to its maximum capability. But critically, Perez is going to be overtaking Charles Leclerc down the pit straight, and they are not going to battle into turn 1. So that's really not going to help me, because the DRS frog leaping each other down the pit straight. And now you can see 1 second and 9 tenths ahead. I'm going to have to be absolutely on it in this lap to try and catch up. You see picking up a bit of wheel spin on the exit of corner, 7 tenths on the exit. So while Charles Leclerc is suffering from the dirty air of Perez up ahead in this middle sector, it's our opportunity to try and maximise and nail it and then get back at the DRS. You can see track limits warning. I believe that is my 2nd warning for this race now, what means another warning. We've got a 3-second penalty and the chance to fight for the podium would be over. 8 tenths behind. As long as we do a good chicane, we should find ourselves comfortably in the DRS of Charles Leclerc up ahead, and that we do indeed. Now 5.5 tenths behind with 24% on the battery, so heading into the final handful of laps here at Imola is giving us a good opportunity to pants later in the race. And now cutting on to the next part of the laps as we finish lap 13, starting lap 14. We are going to be heading on to lap 15, halfway through the lap indeed, through the left-hander. And next corner up, it's Aqua Minerale, up to 30% on the battery, but it's 9 tenths behind Charles Leclerc, and this will not be close enough, this will not be good enough going into the final lap of the race. We need to be closer, we need to be more in the slipstream, and we need to be able to pounce if there is a single mistake from these cars, because we do not want P4. We want to be walking home with that virtual trophy for our boy Nicholas Latifi. Can we get him his first trophy in Formula 1? 1 lap stands between us and that trophy here in Imola. Deploying all of the battery we have down this pit straight right now. Lap 16, Charles Leclerc is trying to overtake Sergio Perez down to turn 1. You see side by side, and you can see we're trying to go for a bigger exit. They actually made contact up ahead. We tried to do a switchback, and now we're on the outside trying to get back up the inside, but we do not have the straight line speed of that. You can see going side by side, we lift on the straight, try and fall a bit back, and we're going to go for the switchback on the exit of the right hander. We have passed Charles Leclerc, and now Sergio Perez isn't going to go defensive. We send it up the inside, on the curve on the inside, and we have got the move done up into P2. We have to cover off the inside line as Charles Leclerc is coming back at us with the slipstream, but Charles Leclerc is actually defending from Sergio Perez right now. We go defensive just to make sure the AI don't think of any dive bomb scenarios into the hander, into Aqua Minerali. They're going side by side behind us, and that's going to give us a fantastic opportunity to pull away. See, 7/10 already on the exit from Aqua Minerali. Sergio Perez got back past Charles Leclerc, and now it's a 3-car battle behind as well because Carlos Sainz has caught up, but that is irrelevant to us right now. We've got a 1.5 second gap to P3, and we are looking like we can take it calmly through the final 2 corners here at Imola. Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race, but that doesn't matter. Nicholas Latifi has got a trophy in Formula 1, and even better than that, he's got a 360 across the line in Formula 1, and how can it get better than that for Nicholas Latifi? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and have any other challenge you want me to take on in F1 22, be sure to post it down in the comments and I will get to recording that video for you. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And for now, I've been Brendan Lee. Have a fantastic day and I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.